Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I thought I would do a sit down video. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit sick, I'm getting over a cold, so just ignore that. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to call this, but I think I might call this something like 5 tips on how to communicate with adults. I actually got inspired to make this video through an incident at school, but I'm not going to go into too much detail about it just for privacy reasons. But there was an incident at school involving our dean and involving all of the year 13s for something that they felt that they were being treated unfairly for, and none of them were saying anything, and I thought if no one's going to say anything then nothing's going to get done. So me being the person that I am, went to our dean and actually had a good half an hour chat with him about some of the issues that were coming up and how we can sort of fix it. I'm not saying, look at me, I can talk to teachers, I'm so much better, because I'm not. A lot of my friends are saying, like, how did you do it? What did you say? And how did he actually listen to you? So that's why I thought I'd make this video, just to sort of give you guys my advice on how I talk to adults. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. Okay, so first of all, when you're going to go and talk to a teacher, don't go in there with the mindset that you want to prove them wrong. Because if someone is talking to you and they come up to you with an issue, I've got a point that they're trying to get across to you, and you have your point that you've already made clear, and then they come to you and are trying to prove you wrong and say, well, your point is wrong and why their point is right, you're not going to want to have any of it, because people don't like being wrong. Chances are you'll get the, oh, I don't want to talk to you, I've got other things to do, I don't want to hear it, and then you'll get the door slammed in your face. Have a good attitude when you're going in there thinking, okay, he or she has made this rule, I feel like it's not carried out as well as it could be, and I think I'm just going to try and bring up some points that they maybe haven't considered. And if you go in there with that mindset, then I think they're going to be more likely to listen to you than they will be that if you go in there with saying, you're wrong, I'm right, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, the next one is to be mature and do not whinge. If you're talking with adults about an issue that is going to affect not just you, but affect all of your year group, or affect your family, or affect your friends, or affect your work, then you want to be mature about the matter. If you're being mature, then they're going to be able to see, okay, he or she has thought about this, it's obviously quite an issue for them. If you go into with a mature sort of vibe, then they'll take your opinions more seriously than if you would go in there all jokey or all like angry about it. Just do not whinge. If they're not listening to you, you can't get all angry at them. You can't get annoyed at them and say, oh, well, you're doing this, and oh, this is wrong, and oh, I don't like the way that this happens because of this, this and this. Because then you're just going to sound like an annoying child who doesn't get what they want. It's like with kids when they whinge, the parents don't like listening to them because all they're doing is complaining. And they're less likely to get what they want if they're whinging. If you're more mature about something, then I feel like your points are more likely going to be considered than if you were immature about it and if you were whinging. My third tip is to remain calm. Don't get all angry, don't fly off the rails, don't start yelling. Because when people yell at other people, then the people that you're talking to do not want to hear if you're yelling. It's like when your parents are yelling at you, or like your teachers are yelling at you, or your friends or your siblings are yelling at you and trying to get a point across to you, you're just going to tune out. You're not going to listen because they're yelling. If they're talking calmly and they're sort of expressing their opinions with a calm tone and a more like relaxed sort of vibe where it's not tension, then I feel like it's going to be easier for both of you to listen to each other than if one person was yelling. Okay, so my next point is to actually consider their side of the argument and to listen to their points and actually think about if their points are legit or if they're not. And if they are legit, then you can agree with their side might not be fully right, but some of their parts might be right. If the person has a good enough reason to say that, oh, this is a problem because of this, you could say, yes, I understand that, but have you possibly considered that the people that need to do whatever they... Which actually leads me to my last point, which is to bring in examples of why you disagree. Say like, oh, you know, I disagree about this certain aspect because have you possibly considered this outcome, and say how that would affect you, how it affects everybody else, why it's an issue, and then sort of bring in personal sort of examples. Like if you bring up personal stuff, then that sort of gets them thinking like, oh okay, I didn't realise that it took this long to do this, or it took this long to do that, and I sort of underestimated how long that would take. I'll just quickly summarise them all. So the first one is, don't go in there with an attitude that you're just going to prove them wrong, because that will not work. So go in there with an open mind. Number 2, be mature and don't whinge. 3rd, remain calm. 4th, consider their side of the argument and consider whether some of their points are agreeable. Number 5, with the points that are disagreeable, bring up your own examples and personal opinions and personal experiences as well, and how that has affected you. So I am by no means an expert on how to communicate with adults and whatnot, but I've just found that these are the steps that work for me. They may not work for you, they might work for some situations, it just depends on people, because some people are very, very set in their ways and some people are more open to opinions and ideas and listening. So I'm not saying that, you know, take my word as like a rule that it will work every time. Just take it with a grain of salt, mind that it won't work for everybody. If you have any other tips on how to talk to adults, then please leave them in the comment section below for anyone else that might need some help. And I hope you guys found this helpful. If you'd like me to do more of like the 5 types or tops or tips or whatever, then please let me know in the comment box below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! And my back's itchy. I feel like this camera's slightly off. They felt that they were beating. Hopefully my top's not down too low. So I'll just quickly summarise them in. Please leave them in the description, not in the description box, that's for me. Please let me know in the comment spot. What am I actually going to call this?